People hitting the road for Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day road trips. They can be fun and very stressful if you're not prepared.
Coming up next, etiquette expert and local mom Corrine Gregory shares some smart advice for minimizing the stress that can come with summer travel.
A lot of people looking forward to a vacation coming up this weekend, and more than 34 million Americans will take Memorial Day road trips this weekend, and some parents can already hear the cries of, "Are we there yet? I have to go to the bathroom," coming from the back seat.
I'm hungry. Where's my juice? Corrine Gregory is the founder of SocialSmarts.com and the author of It's Not Who You Know, It's How You Treat Them. And she joins us now with her take on Memorial Day weekend road trips and, of course, summer travel in general. Welcome back, Corrine.
Thanks. Always good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you here. You know, summer road trips, Corrine, they're always like a rite of passage for families to go, and the time off during the summer time from school and whatever. But how has it changed from way back when we were in school to now?
Well, I'm a hard person to ask that question because I didn't really do the summer road trips. We always did the summer plane trips all over. But a lot of what's changed is obviously we have technology now that'll allow us to keep our little monsters, I mean cherubs, busy. And
nice slip.
So we have lots of opportunities for interactive, things with videos and DVDs and keeping the kids busy beyond just, oh, look at the pretty scenery, which they couldn't care less about. So I think we have a lot of those opportunities to keep our kids busy in ways that we didn't before. And it's, I think, a godsend sometimes.
So are you a fan of the new DVDs that are in the back? I say new, but they've been there for a while. When I was a kid, we had like the little books, and you could do surveys and quizzes. And are you a fan of sticking a movie in the back and letting them watch it for the entire trip?
This is a trick question, right?
I'm clearly not a mom, so.
No, Casey, seriously, I think within reason. I think, you certainly don't want to overdo it on the videos. You don't want to keep them continually focused on a video or on their Game Boys or whatever. But, sometimes it does break up the boredom. And there's nothing wrong with it. But then give them some other things to do too. So maybe, still reading. I'm a big fan of reading, but some kids get car sick.
Yeah.
So you really have to think about it. Whatever works for you, but within reason.
Depends on the child.
Yeah.
You've been talking about this, broaden this out a little bit. TripAdvisor ran a survey, and oblivious parents came back as the most annoying travelers. Now, that may be a little harsh, but parents, what can they do to make their kids have a good time, too, with their parents?
Well, I think, first of all, you need to work on the exposure of your kids to the certain situations. Like, in my case, my kids traveled from the time they were 6 weeks to 2.5 months old. So they got used to the idea of travel, whether it was planes, trains, or automobiles, as we say. But for a lot of parents, this is the first time that they're taking their kids somewhere. Maybe they haven't been in a plane before. Maybe they're not used to it. So you really need to work with your child on what the expectations are. And I keep going back to the exact expectations, not just, well, I hope you're going to behave well on that plane or on that car. I mean, you really need to talk with them.
It's a roll of the dice sometimes when you go on that plane, because you just never know. And you know that kid up in front of you, your child, and you always wonder, oh my gosh, that's going to be me or my parent or my child someday.
Exactly.
You want to keep, hopefully they'll just stay in line.
Well, what you're worried about is you see, a family coming with young children, and you immediately start to cringe, thinking, please don't sit behind me, please don't sit behind me. Don't you do that? Even if you're a parent, you do that. I mean, I do that because you don't know if those kids are going to be well behaved or not.
Well, what do you do if, though, if someone else's kid is being annoying to you?
Well, you have to, first of all, let the parent try to handle it. But I'm not adverse to, if it is above and beyond, if it continues, I have turned around in my seat and said, excuse me, but please don't kick my seat. I mean, I've done that because maybe the parents don't realize it, maybe the kids don't realize it. And so making them aware, I mean, don't be obnoxious about it, but at least let the parent know that, excuse me, this is really irritating, please stop.
It's a good barometer to see who you are as a person, too, because a lot of times you'll be like, I want us to do something, or I'm just going to be passive and let them happen because they're kids. Yeah.
The ones I always like is where they take the tray down in the plane and slam the tray back up.
Oh, I
take the tray down, slam the tray up. Like,
when I was a kid, that's all. I just remember just like back and forth. Yeah, and last time I went on a flight, too. So speaking of which, I mean, it's not just kids that we have to worry about. A lot of times it's adults that are misbehaving. So how do you deal with that?
I think the biggest worry we have is spatial awareness. And what I mean is, I had this great example of, as it turned out, it happened to be a family that was in my child's school. They were talking very, very loudly on a plane, very specific details about a certain somebody, and they didn't mention names, but from who they were talking about, I knew exactly who they were talking about. Okay. And so you really have to think about, use your inside voice, your 4-foot voice. Don't talk like you're in the middle of Yellowstone Park. Be cautious of other people, be considerate of other people. I keep going back to treat others the way you want to be treated. Don't I do this every time we get together? Think about it. Be careful, because you never know when somebody's going to overhear you.
And you know, also it's a vacation, and you want to look at this as a vacation and a good time to be with your family. Make sure you give us some advice here as far as parents just enjoying that vacation and not really going down the checklist.
Well, I think it's important to think about what your child's needs are, what in general, what you're trying to accomplish. Do you want this to be a cultural thing? Do you want this to be a, lay on the beach and play, unlimited time in the pool? And then structure it accordingly, but then also realize that in an unknown situation, your kids are going to be out of their element. They're going to act a little bit differently. They're going to get stressed out. They're going to get worn out. And so take it a little bit easier.
Patience.
Patience. Hard words sometimes, but patience, absolutely.
Corinne, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Always fun being on.
Now, for more on what Corinne does, check out socialsmarts.com.
And at 8:17 right now, it's time to check in with MJ McDermott for a look ahead at the forecast for the weekend.